So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Geneva Park Crescent. Thank you very much to the media for joining us this morning, and thank you very, very much to the residents who have been affected for joining us. At this time, I do want to give some brief opening comments. I think everybody knows what happened on Monday night. We got an extraordinary amount of rainfall in a very, very short period of time. We had as much as 2 months rainfall in a 3 to 4 hour period. It was devastating to many people in the community. The official number of people that have been affected by this, or homeowners that have been affected by this, is 1,578. I still predict we will go closer to 2,000 and maybe over 2,000. If we look at the fact that the city of Burlington has about 68,000 housing units and 55,000 single-family homes or so, the actual percentage of people's homes affected was not huge. It was less than 5%. But the impact of the people that were affected is very, very deep and significant. I've had the opportunity for the last 3 days or so to visit many, many people. I've talked to hundreds of residents that have been affected by this, from all the way from Brant Hills and Mountainside, Haddon Forest and Palmer Drive, our Palmer area, down to this area, down to south of here to Regal Road, all the way further east of the city, the Irish streets where I live in Wicklow and Limerick and Tipperary and so on, all the way out to the east end of Burlington, White Pines and Seneper and Bryant, and I can name all sorts of streets, and I'm not going to name them all. But it was very, very significant and widespread, the effect. My observation is that there are many, many people in need in the community. The vast majority of people that I talked to had insurance coverage, but the vast majority of people that I talked to did not have appropriate coverage. It's not uncommon for people to have a coverage maximum of $5,000 or $10,000, and when you have $100,000 of damage or $150,000 of damage, it does not go very, very far. So we're here today to raise awareness for the community, to let other people in the city of Burlington know how deeply impacted so many of you were. We're also here to put pressure on the provincial government. There is a program called the Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program that we will be having a special council meeting next week, passing a resolution asking for the province to support us in the formation of an Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program right here within the city of Burlington for people that were affected. So we want to tell the story of residents today. I will be talking a little bit more. I'll be introducing our regional chair, Gary Carr, and our MPP, Eleanor McMahon, and then I want to introduce you to some residents and let them share with you their stories. I did mention this is a provincial program, the Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program. It is under the domain of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Mr. Ted McMeekin. Ted is the Member of Provincial Parliament for the area. It's got a long riding, Ancaster, Dundas, Flamborough, whatever it's called. It's a lot of names. But in any event, I had a conversation with Ted this morning. He's aware of our discussions this morning, and he will be strongly considering the application from the city. On that note, I also want to make a note that the Premier of the province, Kathleen Wynne, did call me on Tuesday to see if there's anything that could be done from the province. So yes, there is. But I do want to conclude with this is emotional for a lot of people. I do want to conclude with the fact that what is inspiring, despite the fact that people have been devastated, so many people are coming together and helping each other. In any event, thank you very much for coming. We'll look forward to hearing from our residents, and I'll get my act together shortly and stop the emotions here and try to just be straightforward with my message. But we are a caring, connected, compassionate community, and it's been evidenced this week. Gary Carr.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I just very quickly want to say a couple of things. I first of all would like to thank all of the first responders As you may or may not know, Halton Region has been the safest region in all of Canada for 8 years. During the storm, our police, our fire, and our EMS services performed admirably. They were out 24 hours, and I, on behalf of all of the residents and everyone here today, just want to say thank you to them for the hard work and the dedication. I also want to thank the city staff for the work that they've been doing. I, obviously, at the region, and the regional staff, who I want to thank as well, have been working together around the clock. Everybody at the region, everybody that is working at both the city and the region is doing their part to be able to help out. And finally, I want to thank the press here today, because the focus here today is to get the message out that we are starting a program to raise some money to help the residents above and beyond what is going to be covered by insurance. And I won't jump in and start before the United Way, but as you'll hear in a moment, the folks from the United Way are going to be taking the lead on that. And as you will hear, we have one company has already stepped up with a sizable donation, and I won't jump in on that. But I want to say sincerely, because they will come after me, our sincere appreciation to the United Way and to the companies that come forward. Finally, I wanted to say that everybody else in the community, all the other mayors, have offered their support as well. I know what a great community we have, and to the media, thank you very much for getting the message out. What we want to do today is to start to raise some money to help the people, including the people you hear today and all the people around you. So thank you for your support. Thank you for all of the good work today. Today starts raising the money to be able to help the people in our great community. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much, Gary. And I was remiss in some introductions at the beginning here. We have Councillor John Taylor with us today from Ward 3. And we also have Jane Smith, who's a candidate in the election for Ward 5 for the election in October. I also want to draw your attention that Regional Chair Gary Carr just mentioned that the other mayors have reached out to us. Well, Mayor Rob Burton from Oakville has also just joined us this morning. Rob, we appreciate you being here. I've had the opportunity the last number of days to spend a lot of time with Eleanor McMahon, our MPP for the City of Burlington, who's doing a great job advocating to her bosses at the province for support. We have a great advocate here, and at this point I would like to introduce our MPP, Eleanor McMahon, to say a few words.
Let's move this down a little bit. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to read from some notes, which I don't usually do, but I have some things I want to say, and a bit like the mayor, as I look out at all these wonderful people here, and having met so many of you the last couple of days, my heart breaks for all of you. So it has been an emotional time. And I want to start by thanking the mayor for his leadership. I want to thank his team for working around the clock and their selfless dedication to helping everyone in the city of Burlington, and especially those people you see here today. I want to thank Chair Carr and his fabulous team for the work that they're doing. And, you know, I've been inspired and heartbroken the last couple of days. Inspired, like the mayor said, by the resilience of people, by the community and the sense of community that's taken shape here in Burlington. But I'm heartbroken by what I've seen, the absolute devastation. Mother Nature can be extremely powerful, and her full power was on display here. And I'm blessed. I live in this community, but my house was spared. But as I walked the neighborhoods with the mayor and I spoke to people and I saw the devastation in their homes, I was absolutely heartbroken to see that in a matter of moments their lives were changed. And imagine their sense of panic as they stood in their homes and watched the water rise and their basements fill in a matter of minutes. And they raced down the street with body and soul because their car wouldn't work, because there was 4 feet of water in the street, and because they had nowhere else to go. And that's the kind of stories that we're hearing here. And that's the kind of devastation that we've seen. And it's absolutely remarkable. 8-10 feet of sewage water in people's basements. And the history of their lives and their belongings out on their front yard. And as you walk and you talk to them, you see how devastated they are. You see that the photographs of the cherished loved ones that they had in their basement are now destroyed, and the memories are gone, and they can't replace them. And they're just in shock. They can't make a meal. They don't have power in their homes. They're living with family. Their houses are in an utter state of disrepair. They're unlivable in a lot of cases. So that is the kind of devastation that we're seeing. And I want to thank those people for taking the time that they have taken to share with the mayor and I their stories of loss in their significant time of stress. You've opened your homes to us, and you've showed us what you've experienced. You've opened your hearts to us, and you've shared your stories. And we're very, very, very grateful that you've done that. I want to thank the United Way. Jeff is going to speak in a moment. I have to confess that I worked at the United Way in a previous life in Ottawa. And when I called Jeff, he was instantly responsive. And he has stepped forward, and I know he's going to talk in a moment. But they are, of course, the ideal organization to coordinate resources in this community, and that's what they're doing. In context, and to echo Gary and the mayor, I want to appeal to the citizens of Burlington and beyond, and to companies here and beyond, to help us to raise money for people in need in this community, because the need is real, and it is great, and it is important. And these people need your help. They are your customers, they are your neighbors, they are your friends, and we are all family here. And these people need you to step up now, more than ever. Burlington is a caring and generous community. I know we can count on you, and I know that you'll be here for us. As the MPP for Burlington, I am, as the mayor, an unabashed advocate at the provincial level for the people in my community. As the mayor mentioned, the premier has been in touch. I've been in constant touch with Minister McMeekin. And I know that as we stand shoulder to shoulder, the chair of the region, the mayor and I, and make this case to the province, we are all in this together. And I want the citizens of Burlington to really understand that. Your elected representatives care deeply about your situation, and we are here for you. And that is not just our job, it is our privilege. To everybody who's impacted, I hope you know that we feel your loss and that you shouldn't stand alone. The rain fell on Monday. And those of us who live here saw it. It was absolutely unbelievable. As all of you can attest, I kept looking out the window and thinking, wow, that's a lot of rain. And then an hour later, wow, that's a lot of rain. And then as the rain continued, I thought, when is it going to stop? And it didn't. And the rain fell on all of us, regardless of our postal code, regardless of our economic circumstance. We were all impacted by this terrible storm. As I mentioned, I've been in constant contact with Minister McMeekin. Minister McMeekin, as you know, is the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. He cares deeply about Burlington. He's also a former mayor, so he understands and has empathy for what the mayor and the chair of the region and I are going through. And as the mayor have outlined, there is a process in place and a program that will be triggered by a motion at council next week. The ODRAP program and the decisions in it are made on the basis of the impact on people's lives, and I think, as we've seen, those are significant. And, of course, together with the mobilization of local resources, and that's what the United Way is going to talk about. So I can tell you that, having spoken to Minister McMeekin and having told him what I've seen, I'm hopeful that if there's a way that the province can help that deals within the parameters of the ODRAP program, that they will. And I can commit to you that I, along with the people behind you, will do everything in my power to make that happen. So I'm optimistic that working together, we can build a response that will be helpful. Indeed, our government has responded to such crises in other communities, like Minden, for example. When the people there needed us, we were there for them, and I don't see any reason why Burlington should be any different. So, in conclusion, I just want to say again how deeply we feel your loss, and that we've listened to your stories. And I just have a final appeal, if I could, to the insurance industry. You know, we've met with people, and we've talked to them about their coverage and the response in the insurance industry. I would ask the industry to address the situation here in Burlington with a level of urgency, with compassion, humanitarianism, and sensitivity. Because people's lives have, through no fault of their own, been forever and irrevocably impacted. We need you to listen, we need you to respond, and we need you to help them. Thank you so much for the privilege of being here, and I look forward to meeting some more of you. Thank you.
So we'll now have the opportunity to hear from three residents, their personal stories. I just want to make mention, which I did in my opening remarks, the objective today is to raise awareness in the community because we want to start a fund, as has been mentioned by other speakers. We want to create a fund, and show enthusiasm and support from other Burlington residents and businesses to raise some money for those affected in anticipation of provincial approval of a formal council resolution next week asking the province for an Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program here in Burlington. So we're really going to put pressure on the province by our actions. One of the ladies that was supposed to be here today couldn't be here, and I'm sure you can empathize with her. She gave me a call about 10 o'clock saying the workers, the restoration company has finally come. She can't leave because they're going to be helping her go through her personal effects and determine what can be saved. So she can't be here. But she lives on Cedarbrook Crescent, and I just want to talk a little bit about her situation. And it's not unique. This is not unique. Her entire basement was flooded, as many were, hundreds were, over 1,000 were actually. She had the insurance appraisal in. There was over $80,000 in damages. Her insurance company is capped at $10,000. I know that's a familiar story. Her furnace, her washer, dryer, freezer, fridge, food, laptops, workout equipment, video games, Xbox One, guitar, saxophone, flute, carpet, treadmill, elliptical bike, power bench, all furniture, speakers, nothing is salvageable. She also has a very challenging situation with a daughter with stage 4 cancer, and she's had to deal with a lot of bills with regard to her daughter's cancer. Her roof is leaking badly. She had a flood in her kitchen and the hallway to her bedrooms. She had to borrow money from her parents to have the insulation removed, which is full of asbestos, and there's no one there to help her. This is just an example of one of the many, many situations that people need help in our community. At this point, though, I would like to introduce the 3 folks that are here to tell their stories. I know it's going to be very, very hard on them, potentially, telling the stories, because it's been very, very traumatic. But first of all, I would like to introduce a lady I went to high school with at Nelson High School that we got ourselves reacquainted through this disaster, and her name is Pat Hopmans, and she lives on Regal Drive. Pat?
I'd just like to start by saying I'm pretty exhausted and emotional, so I hope I can get through this. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pat Hopmans, and I live at 3410 Regal Road. I was invited here today to tell my story about what happened the night of the storm and the devastating impact this has had on our community and myself. As we all know, the day was a soggy one with lots of rain and thunderstorms. My main focus that day was to keep the pool backwashed, and I was also keeping an eye on the creek at the back of my house to ensure that the level remained low enough so as to not to cause an issue. Everything was going well until approximately 6:30 when I was looking out the window at my pool, and all of a sudden a tidal wave of brown water came from the side of my home and instantly flooded my pool. I immediately called my daughter and son-in-law to come and help me as I was trying to manage that particular situation. As I made my way to the front of the house and looked out the front door, I was horrified at what I was looking at. There was literally a tidal wave of water rushing toward my home and filling up the street. As the seconds and minutes went by, the situation was progressively worse, and I realized that this was a disaster in the making. I called my daughter back and told them not to come, as they would not be able to get through and it was not safe. My father was also on his way, and I tried to call to stop him. However, he had already left and he was heading to help me. When my daughter and her husband arrived, they were standing at the bottom of Abbott Road, however could not cross the street due to all the water. There was another neighbor calling for help as she was trying to reach her family, as she had also received a distress call for help and could not get through by car. My son-in-law and daughter split up, and my daughter waded across to me, and my son-in-law went to help her. My daughter entered my home as the water was knee-deep on the road, and we ran around the house trying to do what we could. When I first went downstairs, I was relieved as the basement was dry. However, my attention was suddenly directed to the sound of a waterfall, which I could hear flowing into my crawl space. I was horrified and ran back upstairs only to see the water seeping in through the doors. I returned to the basement to secure the back door, and as I was leaving, the drain in my basement burst, and a fountain of water erupted like a geyser. I could also hear the toilets bubbling, and at that point I knew there was no hope of salvaging the situation. There was water and sewage backup spewing everywhere and rising steadily by the minute. In an attempt to reduce the damage, we pulled every tablecloth and sheet I owned from my linen closet and threw them on my front hall floor. However, I realized that that was doing no good as the water was running down the vents. My daughter looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Mom, we have to go. There is nothing more you can do. It is not safe and we need to get out." I left my home in waist-deep water and waded across the street to join my other neighbors who were in the same situation. Our focus at that time as a community was to ensure that all neighbors were safe. Several people made their way back across the street to check on neighbors to make sure that they were okay or to help get them out. The community spirit was absolutely awesome, and I knew more than any other time why I love living in Burlington. The focus was shifted from the disaster that was happening around us to making arrangements for people to have a place to stay and to ensure safety. I do not think anyone affected by this got much sleep that night, as I know that I personally did not sleep for 3 days. The next day, the horror of what happened set in as we returned to our homes to have a look. There was a sense of complete shock. The community was in shambles, and the level of devastation was unimaginable. Something out of a movie. Yards were torn apart, and houses were an absolute disaster. It was truly a catastrophe. The main point never to be lost is that these are our homes, not just our houses. For me personally, part of my yard collapsed. My fences are basically destroyed. My pool shed is almost tipped over. My pool sustained major damage. The interior of my house is a complete write-off from the main floor level down. Contents are ruined. Foundation needs to be assessed, and the rebuild will literally need to be from the concrete walls in. The furnace and air conditioning will need to be replaced, and the wiring will also likely need to be replaced. My car was also in the driveway, submerged to the windows, and is destroyed. Not to mention that my son and I will be out of our home for several weeks or months while all of this work is being done. My son's room was downstairs, and he has lost almost everything. The past few days, my family and friends have rallied to my side and displayed their typical incredible love and support. For them, I am truly blessed, and I never lose sight of this. In addition to all of this, and to be honest, the most devastating part for me is that I have lost many sentimental items that I have been saving to pass on to my children that belong to my husband and their dad, who passed away 12 years ago. These can never be replaced. There are so many families in my community that have been devastated by this, and my heart goes out to all of you. This is truly a catastrophe. Thank you for your time and listening to my story.
Thank you very much, Pat, for telling that story so well. And there's many other stories that we could all share. But the next person to share a story with us is Duca Bauer, who lives on Regal Road as well. Duca, welcome.
Whew. Okay. First of all, I just want to say, I'm not going to cry. Crap. I want to say how grateful I am that I live in Burlington. And the outpouring of help from everyone has been so remarkable. Complete strangers walking up to me going, "Are you the homeowner?" "Yes." "Here's a banana bread. What else can I do?" And I'm dumbfounded, and I'm so overwhelmed by how wonderful everyone has been. It's just been remarkable. So even though we've suffered incredible devastation, I am incredibly grateful that I live in this community. I thank Rick and Eleanor for giving us a voice to tell everyone what's happened. We are one of those people that have sustained 2 levels of damage to our house. It's not livable. The damage has been between $100,000 and $150,000, but it doesn't matter to the insurance company because our cap is $10,000. In the 12 years that we've lived here, we have grown to love this community. Love our location. We live right next to the creek. We're a family of 4 with a 90-pound dog, and our house is unlivable at the moment. We've been living with neighbors who have been absolutely wonderful, incredible. They've been taking my photos, my boxes and boxes of photos, and gently peeling them apart, lying them on their floors, totally taking up all their floor space to save my memories, putting their lives on hold for our family. And I just want to say that I really don't understand the insurance industry. I feel horrible for the people that have no insurance, that their water came in not from the drains coming up, but from the creek in. The people that have no assistance, my heart goes out to them. I feel grateful that I have $10,000 and at least maybe I can get our furnace replaced. But I don't know how long it's going to take. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for all your support and letting us have a voice. Thanks.
The next young lady to speak doesn't live very far from here. Very courageous lady, Amy Thomas.
I just want to thank you all for coming out to our street, and I want to thank the City of Burlington as well for coming and showing us your support. We really appreciate it, all of our neighbors do. Who would have thought when we came home from the movies on Monday night that we would have gone into our basement and found at least a foot of water to start with? Everything on the ground was completely ruined before we could even grab anything. My husband came up and told me, "Amy, we have a small problem, don't panic." I went down expecting maybe like an inch or two of water around our drain pipe, but to find this much water to start with was overwhelming. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know who to call. Do you call 911? What do you do in this situation? We have 3 children, 7, 4, and 1.5, who live in our home with us. And again, we had to watch them and take care of this issue that we were having. The water rose so quickly. We started bailing it out with buckets. We actually went into the water with like our bare feet and sandals, trying to bucket our water out into our backyard. It didn't help at all. And it wasn't until we got to about this far that we realized there was nothing that we could possibly do. We are so thankful for our friends and our neighbors who have come out to support us, who have brought us food. You don't understand, but even the littlest bit of food can help us, because now our money can go further towards fixing our homes. I'm so thankful for the mothers group online on Facebook, the mamas, who are messaging me nonstop saying, "I have this size clothing, I have that size clothing, can I help you with this, can I take your kids?" And those friends who took our kids for the first 2 days, we really appreciate it, because our environment in our house was not safe even for us to be in. The smell alone would make you sick. And it did make me sick, and I had to go to the doctor to make sure that I was okay. Where to go on from this? We have lost our furnace. We have lost our water tank is gone. Our washer and dryer are gone. We lost a fridge. We lost our freezer. We've lost 75% of my children's toys. Not that that's important, because that is not high on our list right now. We lost all of our food in our fridge and our freezer. We lost our Canadian Tire camping equipment. We've lost, we needed duct tape to cover from the smell coming up and the toxins coming up. We couldn't even find duct tape. It was all gone. We're living in a nightmare, and we're a young family who's living off of pretty much one income right now, and we're very thankful for what we have, but we do really need help. Monetary help, gift card help, any type of help that you can provide us, we are willing to take. We have gotten to that point. We've been told that we probably have damage around $100,000. We don't really know for sure, because our insurance company hasn't even come out to look at it. We filled a dumpster double the size of that dumpster over there, full of our stuff. I've lost my yearbook. I lost my wedding dress. I've lost so much stuff. Our special things that we wanted to hand down to generations and generations, like my Cabbage Patches. I have all boys, but hopefully I was hoping one of them would have a girl. They're unsalvageable, and I can't those are in my backyard. I can't throw them out, because I'm hoping somewhere there's something that can clean it. But what people don't understand is when it comes to sewage, nothing can be saved. Once it touches that water, it's contaminated. So our whole 2 levels of our house is gone. Our second level was just redone about 4 months ago. We had saved and was able to work on that part of our house, take out our gas fireplace, put in new flooring, put in new walls. Gone. Completely gone. Everything has been ripped out and sent to the trash. My husband couldn't take time to come because they're working so hard so that we can save our money that we have, our capped money that we have, and make it go as far as possible. So we're personally going into the rummage and pulling off all of the wall boards and the floors ourselves so that the money will go the furthest. We haven't been wearing masks, we haven't been wearing boots, we haven't been wearing anything because we didn't know at first that it was sewage. We had no clue where the water was coming from. And to make matters worse is that I run a home daycare out of my home. So now I've lost my income as well. Please, if anyone out there can help our family, we would really and truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. So that's a little bit of a glimpse in the lives of 3 individuals and the pain and anguish they've been going through this week. And I suggest to you, the tough part of this job is beginning. We've got much work to do to help all the folks that are struggling and in need, as exampled by Amy, Pat, and Duca. At this point, we do have some good news on the horizon. You mentioned Jeff Valentin from United Way will say a few marks. Jeff reached out to me on Tuesday when he got word of how bad things were, and he said, what can we do to help? And we've been in touch with Jeff, we've had meetings with Jeff, and United Way is here to help, and they've got a great announcement to make. The United Way will act as a banker, a custodian for money that people can donate to, and Jeff can tell you how, but that's a fund that people can donate to, and we're going to keep that in escrow to force the province to match it 2-to-1, so we'll have a fund that we can provide dollars where appropriate into the community. So this is just beginning the fundraising efforts, and I want to welcome Jeff Valentin from the Hamilton Burlington United Way to say a few words.
Hi everybody, Rick, thank you so much, and thanks for your leadership. I guess I don't need to now talk about the need that exists, because for everyone here today it's clear. I don't believe it's clear for the broader community yet, and I'm hoping with the help of our media we can get that message out a little better than it's been out so far. I've gotten to know the need a little bit over the last 24, 48 hours as I've gotten closer to what's happened here and the experience that families are having, and I'm so sorry to hear these stories, that's for sure. Eleanor, I'd like to thank you for reaching out to me in the first instance and letting me know that that there was not only a need but an opportunity for us to come together and to help out. So the United Way is stepping up and trying to create the mechanism for people to give and to support the needs that you're hearing about. We've put all of the tools in place, and we're hoping that the community, the broader community, and Burlington, of course, for sure, can step up and find it in their hearts and their abilities to give and to help us accomplish some of what we'd like to accomplish in bringing some much needed resources to the people who need them. I want to specifically mention these mechanisms for people to give. The United Way website is ready to go. Now it's up and running at www.uwaybh.ca, www.uwaybh.ca. Of course, there's the Burlington office telephone number, which will be responded to not only during the day but at all hours, 905-635-3138. There's an email address people could use, uway@uwaybh.ca. And then, of course, there's our Burlington office, 3425 Harvester Road, Unit 107 in Burlington. There is no doubt that people in these communities are generous. The United Way knows this firsthand. They're generous in normal times, but these are serious and extreme times, and we're asking people to really step up and help out. Last evening, when we were getting things prepared, we began to communicate with some of our key partners, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you within an instant, one of our key partners signaled back to say they're in. So it's my pleasure to tell you today about Nualta Corporation here in Burlington. Nualta, you may know, is North America's leading provider of innovative, engineered environmental solutions that enable customers to reduce disposal, enhance recycling, and recover valuable resources from industrial residues. They have offices all across North America. It's a major corporation, and they are a long-lasting and significant supporter of the United Way. I'd like to ask Greg Jones, the Managing Director of Corporate and Customer Communications, to come forward and share with you how they've chosen to step up, be the first, and begin to set the pace for us as we try and do what we're doing. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jeff. It was a quick and simple decision when I saw the email last night for New Alta to get involved and support this incredible initiative. Our head office is based in Calgary, and a little over a year ago that office was closed for over a week, and many of our people were displaced from their homes with the flooding that took place in southern Alberta. So we know firsthand the devastation and the heartache that a situation like this can cause in a community. And I have to tell you, as a lifelong Burlingtonian, born and raised, I couldn't be prouder to stand here today on behalf of my employer, New Alta, and announce that we have stepped up with a $10,000 corporate donation to this fund. And I hope that that $10,000 will do a heck of a lot, but perhaps even more importantly, I hope that it will be symbolic. I hope that New Alta's leadership can inspire and challenge every other business in this community to get involved in some way, whether it's a monetary donation or it's gift cards or products, whatever you can do. I really do encourage every company in this community to get involved and do their part. Thank you.
So I think everybody can appreciate the nature of this this disaster and the flood and so on. We're doing a lot of things on the fly here, and we're reacting and proacting and working as hard as we can to be ahead of every issue we can and really plan things out as much as we can, but we can't plan out everything. And this is good news in this circumstance because I would like to introduce Heather Loomis, the Special Assistant Store Manager for Home Depot that just showed up today, that wants to make an announcement as a way to reach out to the community and help those people that have been that have been affected by the devastation from the flood. So Heather, come on forward.
Hi everyone. We heard about the meeting, so we thought we'd come down this afternoon and meet all of you and have a chance to talk to you. That night, we ended up staying open an extra 4 hours to help support the community in whatever needs they needed, whether it be sump pumps, whether it be tarps, gloves, trash bags, whatever they needed. So we are continuing to offer that support for whatever needs they need to clean up their homes and, you know, help to take care of their lives and put it back in order. We're currently reaching out to our merchandising staff teams to bring in additional product to help support the neighborhood and the communities in and around us. We're bringing in truckloads, and I mean literally truckloads of product. So I myself am here, as well as the department supervisor, Andrew, willing to hear what you guys need. We're going to be listening to you, trying to get that product in right away for you. We've had several trucks show up last night. We've got a few more on the way. And additionally, we're looking at what we can do as a company to support our community. A lot of our staff lives in Burlington. They're going through this just like you guys are, and trust me, it's personal for us as well. We want to help you guys. We want to do everything we can. We work with insurance companies a lot of times in a lot of projects, so if you guys have any questions or need any additional information, please come see me. Stop by our store. We'd love to chat with you and help in any way that we can. So please, we'd love to talk to you.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the formal part of the media conference. I encourage everybody to hang around, and there's some refreshments here, and trade war stories with your neighbors or people that have been affected. I know on Tuesday night, after we see all the devastation in our neighborhood, we were trading war stories in my neighborhood and getting to know each other better. I mean, there are good things that happen when people are affected in this tragic circumstances. You get to know your neighbors in your neighborhood and your community much better. including me on my own street. So in any event, I'm going to stop now, but we will entertain a few questions to any of the speakers.
Yeah,
Al?
Rick, I wonder if you could sort of give us what kind of goal you're looking at. Say someone with $100,000 damage and a $10,000 cap. How much of that $90,000 do you think you could cover?
So that's yet to be defined. The details of the program are yet to be defined. I do know that the parameters of the program state that insurance must pay first. Clearly, insurance must pay first. People have to produce receipts. And the expectation is that essential items will be purchased. So if you have fancy flooring in your basement, that will not be eligible. But certainly the basic things like furnaces and washers and dryers and furniture and bedrooms and bathrooms and all that stuff will be covered by this particular program. So that's the rough details, but we're going to be circulating the details in much more detail as we go through the process with the province.
Oh, how about the people who are affected by overland flooding, who aren't covered by insurance at all? Would this fund be designed to help them, or can you get the insurance companies to do
the
something?
details will have yet to be established, but I would believe that this fund will consider everything. What will happen, assuming the province gives us the approval, is a disaster recovery committee will be established in the city. There will be no elected officials involved with this committee. It will be the corporate representatives and citizens stepping up to filling a role here, and there'll be some sort of process of going through the vetting of the people that have the needs and how they will be fulfilled. So, but a lot of those details are yet to be defined.
Okay. Now, how about the insurance industry? What's the deal with them? Are they sort of sticking to the letter of the contract, or are you asking them to go beyond the contracts they have with their customers?
So I think we're asking the insurance industry to be as fair as possible with their clients. You know, I know in my circumstance, my wife and I were talking the other night. We feel very, very fortunate because there is no real meaningful level of the coverage we have. We don't have to deal with a capping issue. So I was sharing stories that I've heard from the community with my wife, and she was talking to our neighbors, and we're in the minority from what I can tell. And because insurance companies, a lot of them are going by the letter of the law, we ask them to be flexible and be as helpful as they can to help people. This is extreme circumstances. I talked to one particular lady who said, you don't need sewage backup insurance, at least the insurance company said that, because you live in Burlington. I'm not sure why anybody would give that advice, but that was the advice given. So the insurance company, we want them to step up and be as fair as they can with their customers.
Can you just tell us a little bit as well as what you're asking of the province?
So what we're asking of the province, so this is the Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program. We're asking for approval of that particular program. And how the provincial program works is for every, if we get approval, every dollar that's raised via donations through individuals and corporations in the city and businesses, they will match it 2 to 1. So if we raise $500,000, they will give us $1 million as an example. I think we're going to need more money than that.
What if we can talk about the $1,000 grant for public sewer backup so it's hand-delivered to most residents in this area?
Yes.
By the Halton region. Can we talk about that? Or?
Ask a question. Go ahead. And Gary Carr is here from the region to answer any questions as well.
Just pretty much the first line, provincial assistance says this was not due to any negligence or lack of care on the part of the region. Do we think it is?
No, we don't think it is. No, this was an extreme weather event where, as I mentioned, setting the context, that we had 2 months of rainfall and a 3-hour period. And there was an article on cbc.ca this week that said no amount of infrastructure could have handled the deluge of rainfall in Burlington.
Sorry.
Gary, did you want to comment?
Just if you wanted the program, we have about 1,500 homes have been affected. We, at the end of today, will visit 1,000 of those homes. By early next week, we will finish off the 1,500. What we're doing is we're giving the $1,000. We've approved 250 already. By next week, all the approvals, the first ones actually will receive checks within the week, and the total 1,500 will receive them probably within 2 weeks. And what that $1,000 will do, it can be used for anything. It can be used for the dumpsters. Rick mentioned the insurance. What it will do is if you have a deductible of $500, you can use the $500 to take out for the deductible, use the dumpster, And then what we're doing is the money we're raising today, and that's why we want to be out here today, the money we're raising out today will be matched 2 for 1, and then that money can go to help out anybody that doesn't have any insurance. So our goal in all of this is to make sure we raise enough money so no one is hurt financially. And that's the way the program will work. And that's why today we're thanking all the media and we're thanking the people at the United Way with these cards, because the more money we can raise, the more money that we can do to help the individuals we helped here today. And so thank you, and we're going to continue to try and raise as much money as we can.
So in the case of the class action lawsuit, obviously the first line says the region is not due, is not, pretty much you decline negligence for the region. Let's say the case of the class action lawsuit, people are capped at $10,000 and they have up to $150,000 damages to be heard. What can they do? I mean, sort of, let's say it does go to a class action lawsuit. They've already signed their life away with that $1,000.
What we're doing in terms of the grant that goes out, that $1,000, we're paying that right off the pat to get things going. So in terms of the other details as we move forward, we obviously will be able to assist. The one thing I didn't say earlier as well, to both the media and the residents, I will be around afterwards. Stay as long as you like. If anybody wants to come up and see me, they know what I look like, and I will be able to help out as well as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Just the fellow from the region, Gary, if you wouldn't mind coming back, I'm sorry. Sure. I understand that Monday was a complete bizarre, active nature. However, this entire area is the Bridlewood community, and I'm sure you're quite familiar with the name of our street, because the majority of us have just, since May 13th, sustained sewer damage up to here. And I literally just finished paying off a new washer, a new dryer, a new furnace, a new fridge, finished my flooring, only this time to have it come to my second level. And while $1,000 is wonderful because it does help with some stuff, there was a gentleman in our neighborhood yesterday who let us know that Bridlewood would never be fixed. This is apart from this active nature, I understand, but we're here because this is the second time flooding seriously in our neighborhood, and somebody, was he from the city or the region, who let us know that Bridlewood would not be fixed because the damage and infrastructure is so severe that we would all have to be displaced from our homes for a year, and that is not something that is financially sustainable to the region or the city. How do you respond to that? Because, you know, so we all put our homes up for sale, we've brought media attention to it now, so who's going to buy our homes? Because we flooded 4 times in 12 years, 4 times. And now we're not eligible for insurance. My neighbor, her insurance company has cut her off. They went to the second level to here. This is not okay. I'm sorry.
So as the mayor of the city, as well as the former councillor for the area that you live in, I'm very, very aware of the circumstances that you're in. I know that there's about 50 homes flooded this May. And I'm aware from Councillor Sharman, who's briefed me very, very carefully about what's happening. The focus today is on helping to raise money and really raising awareness of the issues and raising awareness of the tremendous human suffering. I'm not going to dodge your question because you deserve an answer, and we're going to have to get it to you. But you're not going to get it today. No, I assure you. But
this is a forum. We've never had a forum, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here because it's very important that we address the questions you're asking, because this is not right that the flooding has happened this much. What we've heard, what you've told me and told Gary and I have not heard before. So I want to hear our staff give us an update. The focus is, you know what, we want to hear your stories today, but we need to, in due time, we will get reports from the staff of the region of Halton as well as the city of Burlington as to what happened on Monday night and how well did our infrastructure do or not do. I think there's some obvious answers, but we want to report like the way of, I wish there was a black box in some of these storms that really could monitor exactly what happened and how well the infrastructure held up. But we have to do those reports in due time. Your issues will not go away. I assure you we will not let go of those issues. And Councillor Sharman is speaking up very well on your behalf as well. We will not let go of those things, and we will stay in touch, and we will get appropriate reports from the region in due course. I can't promise you exactly when. So we will get back to you. Tina.
I think she kind of led to my next question. There were a lot of people flooded in May. Some of them, this is their second time in this year alone. Will any people who flooded in May qualify for this money?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, the people in May were also affected now, so absolutely they
With
can.
the people who maybe weren't flooded this time but were also affected in May, will they qualify?
So I can't answer that, Tina. I will have to get back to you on that. Yes, sir.
You said earlier when somebody spoke about the insurance.
Yes.
You said that insurance has to pay first and then this other funding will kick in.
Correct.
What about those of us who had not one, not two, but 4 floods in a year and a half? Canceled insurance due to you, not you, the city, the region, whatever you want to call it, for sewer backup. We have no insurance. When we finally went to the high-risk insurance company, I said, that's it. When this rental's done, we're selling the house. You know what we got told? Good luck, Charlie, because anybody who tries to get insurance on that house, your house is red flag. Yep. How do we deal with this, sir? We've got 4 floods in a year and a half. We have no money to fix this. $1,000, thank you. It's good to wipe our ass.
So
honestly, sir, $1,000 doesn't fix our basements. Doesn't buy furniture. And you're saying hardwood floors won't be fixed? We just repaired them 3 times.
So we are advocating today for money from the province as well as raising money in the community to help people in situations like you.
When?
So that's a good question. And this will unfold over time. We're doing, as I said, we've been in disaster mode since Monday night. We are working as fast as we can. We're going to be pushing the province as fast as we can. There'll be a special council meeting next week asking for approval of a resolution to go to the province to start up a disaster recovery assistance program in the city. You're right. You are asking all the right questions, and we will get you all the right answers in due course.
I just spoke with a public health official at the office yesterday. Public health inspector. You don't need hot water, sir. Bathe in bleach and cold water. Go to Home Depot and get a mask and goggles so you can sit in your house. Sir, how do we live?
So I'm going to be hanging around.
Those of us who don't have money.
So I suggest the folks from Bridlewood who are here are whatever, if you've been affected before, Gary and I will hang around and we'll be more than happy to discuss your situation, because we will not let your concerns go. We will not sweep them under the carpet. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming, and please hang around and talk to Gary, myself, Eleanor, talk to other residents who are struggling with you. We share your pain, and we're working as hard as we can to get the funding necessary and get the program in place to help you as soon as possible. So thank you, everybody, for coming.